past Region 13 Advisor, DTM Brillian SK, President of Smartcity Toastmasters, Toastmaster Joshin Jos, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests, a warm good morning to all of you. Harry S. Truman once said, "Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers." I repeat, not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. So we have almost 20 leaders sitting over here. Tell me, how many of you are readers? On your video, and show me the hand or raise your hand. Yeah, I see quite a few hands over there. Tell me how many of you are voracious readers? Wow, I still see hands. Okay, let me pick up a few people. Toastmasters Siyad, can you tell us how many books you read in a month?
I'd probably say it's gone down. It's probably an average of 2 now. But aside from books, I read a lot of magazines, a lot of news articles, a lot of current things with regard to different fields. So it's not necessarily books. In fact, my book reading has gone down considerably compared to before. But yeah, still, I'll still read at least an average of 2 books a month.
That is great. Let's give a huge round of applause for him. Toastmaster Nidun, can you tell us how many books you read in a month?
I read on an average 2 to 3 books in a month, but in my current role, we have to go through a lot of industry reports, and we have to keep reading things like the Business Line and Economic Times on a daily basis. So similar to Ziad, book reading has come down, but online reading, and especially with regards to reports like Gartner and McKinsey and all, most of the time is spent there. But yeah, still managed to get in 2 to 3 books a month.
That's great. Let's give a huge round of applause.
Currently reading Negotiation Strategies by Deepak Malhotra.
Great. That is great. I have seen a few more hands, but we will take that up later. Let's give a huge round of applause for these 2 readers and leaders. And I'm going to give extra round of applause because I am reading this particular book, Getting Things Done, for last 2.5 months, and still 1/4 is remaining. So you have to tell me how you read, how you keep motivated to read that much fast. 2 books or 3 books in a month. I cannot believe that. Okay, so we heard how the leaders in Toastmasters, the reading habit of leaders in Toastmasters. Let me tell you the reading habit of some of the renowned leaders in the world. Bill Gates, co-founder of Microsoft, he reads 50 books in an year. That if it breaks down, it will come down to 1 book per week. Elon Musk, I don't think he needed an introduction. When he was asked, okay, if you don't know, he is the founder, CEO, CTO, chief designer of SpaceX and CEO of Tesla and many more. When he was asked how he learned to build rocket, he said, "I read books." He used to read 10 hours a day before he became the CEO of Tesla. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, he reads 600 to 1,000 pages a day. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, all these are the busiest leaders in the world, and in their busy schedule, they find time to read. Every day they find time to read. Why they think the reading is so important? I cannot go and ask them. So let me ask the leaders over here, can you put it in the chat? Why do you think reading is so important? Let me hear from you. Additional knowledge, wisdom, to see other perspectives.
I think it makes us think.
Right? Yeah, think different. Great. Reading expands our horizon. Great. So as the leaders over here said, and also so you too can write a book. That is great. See another world. Lot of things are coming up. In short, when you read, actually you get a lot of knowledge, and that is the purpose. When leaders read, they are very selective. They read to gain the knowledge instead of being just getting entertained. They are very selective, and few people are so obsessed with biographies, autobiographies, to get inspiration and guidance from others. So what are those books that helped all these great that renowned leaders to become the great leaders? You can google them. But today we have an eminent leader as our guest speaker, and there are leaders from Smart City Toastmasters who came forward and take up roles for today. As we move on, we will hear from them what is that book which helped in their leadership journey. So with that, let me welcome all of you to the meeting once again. Today, we are going to have an educational session on finding leader in me, followed by a table topic session based on the theme for today, leaders are readers, and then a general evaluation session. So just sit, relax, and enjoy the meeting. And we are here to ensure you will have enough takeaways to become a great leader from this meeting today. Moving on, to ensure the meeting will happen smoothly and also to evaluate, we have our general evaluator, and he is tapped in today. So about our general evaluator, he is the charter member and past president of Smart City Toastmasters. He works for Wipro for last X years, because he explicitly told me not to tell his years of experience. He is a football lover and an art lover. And let me welcome today's general evaluator, Toastmaster Abraham Irali, to read the guidelines of the evaluations and to introduce your chat team. Over to you, Abraham.
Toastmaster of the day, my dear fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests. Football players who have lost to score a critical penalty in a critical match. Cricket players who became a golden duck, or the bowlers who bowled the last ball and got scored a 6 and lost the match. Engineers who miscalculated and made a multi-billion project a failure. You can see people failing. And have you ever seen they walk out of their career? They always come back with better learnings and better quality. Imagine the criticisms these people might have had to face. Criticizing them in social media, burning effigies. They never got any positive feedback from their failures, but they always come back. In Toastmasters, it's a platform. You come here and you perform, and you get a positive, constructive feedback so that you develop, you become good leaders and speakers. What makes Toastmasters different from other clubs is the constructive evaluation that you receive. And my job as a general evaluator for the day is to coordinate this particular evaluation session. I have a team with me, which is called the TAC team, with a timer, a counter. So today, to monitor the time, we have Toastmaster Ninoj Abraham. Ninoj, could you please introduce your role as the timer for the day?
Thank you, General Evaluator, and fellow Toastmasters and guests. Before moving to the timer's role, I just want to thank all Toastmasters by showing that my secretary's reports and thereby encouraging and supporting me. Thank you, everyone. So I'm just moving to my role, timer's role. So as a timer, now I will be noting the time taking for the entire program. So today we have the education session and table topics. Today we don't have the prepared speeches. So for the education session, the time allotted is 15 minutes. And it is divided as two. The first 40 minutes, the education session. The next 10 minutes will be the question QA session. For the education session, at 30 minutes, I will be showing the green. At 35 minutes, I'll be showing the yellow. And at 40 minutes, I'll be showing the red. For the table topics, the time allotted is 2 minutes. And when the speaker is 1 minute, I'll be showing green. When it reaches 1 minute 30 seconds, I'll be showing yellow. When it reaches 2 minutes, I'll be showing red. And so please remember to pin and the timer's view. I think that this window, just to note the timing. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ninoj, for that wonderful introduction as to your timer's role. What makes a flower beautiful? It's its color and its fragrance. Similarly, what makes a language beautiful? How you say it and how you present it. So to help us improve how you present or how we say, we have someone to monitor. And we call this particular role player the grammarian and the R-counter. Let us hear from Nithun Tankachan how he's going to monitor the grammar and the R-counter for the day. Over to you, Toastmaster Nithun Tankachan.
Grammar is a piano I play by ear. All I know about grammar is its power. These are the famous words of American author Joan Didion. Good morning, Toastmaster of the day, Rakhi, General Evaluator Abraham, the Toastmasters and distinguished guests. My name is Nidun and I'll be taking up the role of grammarian and R-counter for today. It's my responsibility to pay close attention to all the speakers, listening carefully to their use of the English language, as well as inappropriate expressions such as well, so, you know, filler words like So I'll be keeping a track of all of this and presenting my report at the end of the meeting. I'd also encourage all the speakers to use the word of the day. The word of the day for today is in line with our umbrella theme, leaders are great readers. The word of the day is erudite, E-R-U-D-I-T-E, erudite. It is basically an adjective that means having or showing great knowledge or learning. The use in a sentence would be, Shashi Tharoor could turn any conversation into an erudite discussion. So I'd encourage all the speakers to use erudite in your sentences. And if you are not already, keep reading so that you are also erudite in all the discussions you have in all spaces. Thank you. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nithun. You will hear more from me and from my team during this general evaluation session. And thank you and over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, General Evaluator Toastmaster Abraham and his team for the detailed explanation of the guidelines of evaluations. Next, before we are moving on to the education session, we have a joke session just for entertainment. And for today, the joke master, she joined our Toastmasters Club 1 month back. During that time, she has done her icebreaker speech, and then she presented the same speech in a sister club meeting. And she takes roles in each and every meeting. She takes at least one role, and she go and attend other clubs meeting as well. Such a passionate and enthusiastic Toastmaster. She was senior associate of EY, and her passions are traveling, singing, and dancing. When I asked her about her favorite book, she told me the favorite books are The Leader with No Title, The Alchemist, and The Power of Now. Why she liked that? It helped her in immense, because to be a leader, you need no title. It only requires the willingness to do any work with soul and heart in it and to enjoy the present moment. To be a leader, you need no title. That resonates with all. With that, let me welcome the joke master for today, Toastmaster Vidya Renchit. Over to you, Vidya. Vidya, you are not audible. No.
Vidya, you seem to have a network issue. Can you remove the headphones and just try?
Hello?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
better now.
Hello? Am I able to? Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes, you are audible now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. I would like to share an incident that happened in my life when I was in Bangalore. Here, I like to introduce a person, a character in my story. My house owner aunt. My house owner aunt, she used to cook special dishes, especially on Sundays to us. One day, on Sunday afternoon, she called me, Vidya, come and collect the food. And I went to collect the food. And when I saw it was an aloo chicken curry. And my mouth started watering. I took the food from her and I went inside my room and I kept it on the table. My husband, who was about to take the shower, he stopped in the middle and he came and he asked me, Vidya, what is that? I told, it's a special aloo chicken curry. And he told me, okay, Vidya, I will go take a bath and I'll come back. You can start because it was already 2:30 p.m. So you can have your lunch, but if you don't like veggies, please don't waste it. You keep it aside. And he told and he went to take the shower. Since I was feeling so hungry, I went and I started having the food. And my stomach was full and I felt so relaxed and I started watching TV. My husband, who went to take the shower, he showered, he came back and in smiling way, he came and he opened the cash drawer. I was startled. He asked me, Vidya, where are those chicken pieces? And I understood, I noticed that I misread what he told me. Actually, I ate all chicken pieces and I left all potatoes for him. And he stood like this, as if he had lost a battle. And I stood like this, as an erudite, sweet wife. But inside my mind, I was dancing like this. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vidya, for entertaining us with that joke. And that was her debut performance as a joke master. Let's give a huge round of applause for her. Now we are moving on to the most excited session for today, the education session. For this current Toastmaster year, Smartcity Toastmasters started education session on every month. So this is going to be our third education session for the current Toastmaster year. And for today's education session, we have an amazing leader who was the past first district director of District 98 and the past Region 13 advisor for last year. It is none other than distinguished Toastmaster Brillian SK. Brillian SK is a seasoned professional with experience in career development, coaching, and talent management. He has 24 years of work experience in HR domain. He is currently Senior Vice President and Head HR with ETEC and also serve as an academic advisor to a polytechnic in Mumbai. Brillian loves to spend his spare time listening to music, photography, and sharing life lessons through YouTube's channel. And when I asked him about his favorite book, Even Eagles Need a Push, that is his favorite book. And the reason? Leadership is tough, and at times you are staring at a wall. That is when you need something to keep you motivated. A little push in the right direction can always help after the shift in the right direction. So, to give a little push to all of us to become a great leader, we have our eminent guest speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Brillian SK. Brillian SK, over to you.
Check. Thank you, Raki, for that push. Oops. It was sometime in the evening. I pinged Ashish and asked him, what is the dress code? And Ashish said, we are an erudite club and we are known as the Smartcity Toastmasters Club. I don't need to say anything. So I decided to do something mostly erudite people would do, dress up for the session. Thank you for having me over. And if you remember what Raki said, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, and I was wondering, what is in common between these two and me? And then I realized, while success-wise I'm no longer there, but there is something really interesting that connects us both. Bill Gates, I have multiple gates to enter my society. Elon Musk is my favorite perfume. So here I am. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this session, which is the 334th session of Smartcity Toastmasters Club. It is my honor to be here presenting this session for all of you. And I hope by the end of it, I can share some of the lessons that I learned, which will be useful for all of you. Are we set? I would like all of you to interact with me. And I would love to hear some voices, some noise. It makes me feel that I am in a room with people and not in a place where there is no one. Are you all with me?
Yes.
Yes, no,
Yep.
thank you.
Yes, we are.
Yes, DTM Brillian.
Yes, brilliant. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So let me ask you this question, ladies and gentlemen, ladies first, what brings you here? Is it Hrithik Roshan? Gentlemen, is it Katrina Kaif? Or something else? I'm sure, because I come from Mumbai, the expectations of getting these people along for my session would have been high. But let me tell you, leadership gives you much more than this. A standard question which we have been put through right since the time we joined Toastmasters is, are leaders made or are they born? And I don't need to give you that answer. For each one of us in this room know that leadership, like rocket science, can also be learned. I'll take you through my journey of leadership. This is an amazing photograph, a fantastic memory, way back in the year 2005, when I had the opportunity to lead a contingent from India as a part of the youth organization Rotrack to Pakistan. We did not use aeroplanes, but instead we walked to Pakistan. That experience was a life-changing experience. And that lesson of leadership has been amazing. Right from helping the lone lady, Hinal, find vegetarian food in a land where meat is the only thing they eat, to making sure that each one of us are staying together, staying connected, because we were all in a land where we had no one else but each other. Leadership is very interesting. And like every presentation, wise men need to say something for my presentation as well. Mitt Romney has rightly said, leadership is about taking responsibility and not making excuses. If you are a leader and you're making excuses, then excuse me, you're not a leader. So let me get some inputs from each one of you about your definition of leadership. What comes to your mind when you think of leadership? Responses, please. Voice responses is preferred.
Leading by
Someone who
example.
can,
Leading by example. Okay. Yep. Go on, please.
someone who can stay calm in crisis.
Stay
And
calm
lead
in
the team.
crisis. Excellent. What else?
A leader should be a man of integrity.
Man of
Leader
integrity, be the change. Super.
Being
Yeah,
in
yeah.
lead from the front.
Sorry?
Lead from the front.
Lead from the front. Okay, excellent. What else?
Being in the other shoes.
Being in the other shoes. Okay. Anything else? I'm looking for
Empathize.
certain keywords which we have
Empathize.
all experienced. Sorry?
Empathize.
Empathize. A leader should have empathy. Excellent. What else?
Selfless.
Sorry, I missed that.
Selfless.
Selfless. Okay.
Patience.
Patience. Excellent.
Inspired.
So if we look at some of the words that come to our mind, most of it each one of us would have experienced. A leader is a good listener. We heard people say that a leader is a good reader as well. A leader should connect. He should be able to inspire people, empower people, make sure there is communication. He must act, resolve, and also be a good learner. We know all about this, right? And today, my session is about finding the leader in me. And it is said, great happens here at Toastmasters. All the lessons that I'm sharing and all the experiences that I'm sharing here is based on my experiences with Toastmasters. So let me ask you a simple question. How many sides do a coin have?
Three.
Two sides.
Two sides.
Normally.
Three sides.
Two sides.
Three sides.
Two sides,
Three
three
sides.
sides, one side, no side. Who said three?
Me.
Who said
Ashish.
three? Ashish. Excellent. In reality, a coin has three sides. Heads, tail, and the outer side. And that's where it makes a big difference. I'm sure you have seen this picture somewhere on WhatsApp or on Facebook. It's all about perspective. Do you agree? Now, depending on where you are in your leadership journey, you could either see a boat or you could see a land. And both of these bring joy to you. Isn't it?
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. What do you see here and what's your interpretation of this? Any interpretations you have?
The guy
Quick,
was
quick.
really drunk
Okay.
and he mistook his bicycle for his wife or a girlfriend.
Okay. Wonderful. That's an interesting perspective. What else?
Hold on to what you love.
Hold on to what you love. Wow. Yes. What else?
His wife is outstanding.
Wife is outstanding. Yeah. We have so many outstanding members at Toastmasters as well, right? Anything else? Anything else?
He's sleeping with his dream bicycle.
Sleeping with his dream bicycle. Okay. Excellent. We heard some perspectives. So let me ask you a question. All those who responded can just internalize and tell me, do you really know that is his wife or his girlfriend or someone he knows?
No.
And that is where the leadership lesson comes in, my dear friends. Most often, we just look at one perspective and believe that is the truth. And when you are in a leadership position, you may not really know what is right, what is popular, but what is important for you to remember all through is that it doesn't matter. You need to stick to the truth and to your team. The golden rule of leadership is to tell people that I am with you and I want to understand what the perspective is before I make any decision. And one lesson that I learned at leadership is what is right is not always popular, and what is popular is not always true and always right. How many of you have been in a river rafting experience? Anyone? Anyone has been in a river rafting experience?
Yeah, I have been when I went to Kulu Manali.
Wonderful. I have also been to Kulu Manali. So could you tell me about 2-3 terms of rafting, which is very, very interesting and very engaging for anyone who's into rafting?
Terms as in about rafting or
about rafting.
Okay, I don't know because we were in a single raft with 6 people and we had a guide with us. So he was the guy who was rafting. Actually, we were just sitting and enjoying the, the water gushing in. We were wearing our life jackets.
Right.
So I don't think he had shared us about the technical terms.
So have you heard of this term called as rapid?
I've heard the word.
The rapid is a quick change in the movement in the water where you don't know how the water will move. And then there is this period which is silent. Both terms are very simple, silence and rapids. Silence means it's as calm as possible, and rapids means there is a lot of action happening inside the water. And in leadership, there are times when there is absolutely nothing happening. There is complete silence. And this is a very important lesson that I learned, that leadership is not always about action. There are times when nothing would happen. We must learn to enjoy this entire journey and only not focus on the action part. We need to adjust and embrace both the silence and the rapids. The silence period, or the periods when there is absolute silence, are for us as leaders to review our goals, validate strategies, and make the changes as required. So that when the rapids come, it helps test the execution capabilities and see how each member contributes. I don't know, there was only one person who said that he's been in a rafting experience, but there's one person who's in command. But if you can see the picture, there are other members in the team who carry that oar. And depending upon how the raft is moving, the captain gives command. And there are possibilities in the journey where the captain will have no control and the entire raft is dependent on the members steering it right. It's important to make sure that each person in your team knows what to do when you are in a rapid. Leadership is not about you. Leadership is about the team. And as a wise man has rightly said, you don't have to do it alone. You have a team to work with. What is leadership all about? What do you see on picture? What do you see on screen?
Focus on
problem solutions
or solution.
What do you see on screen?
Upside down.
What do you see
blackboard
on screen?
A blackboard.
What do you see on screen?
Stay focused.
What do you see on screen?
A slide and a blackboard and some letters in chalk with
what do you see on
check
the screen?
boxes.
I see a king on a chessboard.
Wonderful. As you can see, many a times we tend to look at what we want. We want to focus only on things which is very evident and in the face. But it's important to remember that there is so much on the screen that at times some of these tend to be distractions. We need to focus on the solution. And this is where I have come up with a terminology called as the selfie leadership. Not the selfish leadership. People said it should be selfless, but this is a selfie leadership. Now, what is the selfie paradigm? In your journey as a leader, it's not about the destination. It's not about reaching the goal. It's about how effectively you can navigate, having fun. It's about the adventure. We all have fun. And as a leader, while you are looking ahead, you also need to make sure that your team is in command. I don't know how many of you know, when you take a selfie, what happens? You can see yourself, you are in front. At the same time, you can see your team. We need to make sure that the team is with you. You are looking at them, telling them, don't worry, I'm with you. We must stay focused. It's important. As you can see in this picture, this is a photograph of my team taken in office. Each member feels engaged in this journey. Each member feels contributor to the process. We need to make sure that as a leader, we tend to ignore some of the minor distractions that we have. What are the key distractions that you would have had as a leader? Any leader in this room would want to share? Any distractions?
We have to consider everyone equally.
Consider everyone equally, but distractions. I'm speaking more about distractions, which can tend to lead you away from your goal.
The timeline
Non-productive
sometimes.
member.
Wonderful. Timeline. Who said that? Sorry, I can't see you on screen. Who said it?
Ashish.
Ashish. Super. Could you elaborate on that, Ashish?
Sometimes we focus on closing the deal or getting to the goal that we lose focus or the direction where we are actually supposed to go. Not
And
focusing on the team.
And what happens that time?
Sometimes we don't treat our member colleagues right way, the way they're supposed to work.
Bang on. You tend to
Can I add one more point?
Yes, surely.
When we are overloaded with the work and when we tend to focus on our core area, we tend to miss our team members' priorities.
Bang on. Bang on is the word. What happens is when everything is good, we tend to believe that it's going well. But if there are challenges, we tend to ignore what's happening with the team. We tend to ignore that and we want to just focus on the destination. And that's when we start feeling restless. We feel that we have no control and you only want to look at my way or the highway. And my dear friends, let me tell you this. We need to learn to adjust. We need to learn that as a leader, we must stay positive at all times. It's not easy, but at the same time, it's important that you focus on staying positive, because if you are not positive, the impact is on the team. This is a very interesting picture. I'm sure most of you would know about it. Should leaders be emotional? Should leaders try to hide emotions? Any answers?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
No, they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. Friends, it is said that a leader should not be emotional, but I feel personally that it's okay to have emotions. We all are human beings. I don't know, but I assume that since all of us are on Zoom and human beings are the only animals in this world who can use Zoom, we are all humans and we all have emotions, right? Being emotional doesn't mean that you're not in control. It means that you are a human being. You may get emotional, but what is important for you to remember is that to be a credible leader, you need to make sure that people also feel that, yes, you as a leader can understand emotions and navigate through it. There are times when people will be low. There will be times when emotions are at the high. As a leader, I need to connect with them. If I do not have a connect, I do not have a bonding, nothing will happen. And I feel those who say that leaders should not be emotional is a double standard. The reason, if I look at emotions and if I say that I'll not react to what's happening around me, I'm probably a robot. My team will disconnect with me while I may achieve the goals, but I have not done it the right way. And that's not what we are looking at. Very often, emotions get sidelined because we feel that we are getting too emotional or this person doesn't show any emotion. What's important is emotions should be managed in a way that you understand, as in Hindi they say, bhavnaon ko samjho. You need to understand the emotions and work towards achieving success, making sure that as a leader, you don't create a facade of being non-emotional and just do talk. Now, this is a photograph from Bhagavad Gita. You know what is the experiences that have happened, right? When there was an emotional dilemma faced by Arjun, to fight his own elders, brothers, and relatives, that's when the entire discourse of Gita was said to have happened. And Krishna told him that it's about doing what is right. Here is one question I want to ask you. We've always heard, those who know about the story, Yudhishthir is a man of truth, isn't it?
Yes.
Yudhishthir is a man of truth, yet in the Mahabharata, there was an instance where people felt that he lied. Reality is, when asked, is Ashwatthama dead? Yudhishthir said, Ashwatthama hatahat, Naruva Kunjarova. The last part was silently spoken. So the emphasis was only on the death part, but he did not lie. He made sure that he completed the statement. There are times when you need to make sure that some elements may not be highlighted because it may have a negative impact, and you need your team to focus on the goals. I'm not asking you to lie. I'm asking you to make sure that you manage the situation effectively. And there is nothing like communication. In leadership, anything you do is about communicate. And as a wise man has rightly said, communicate, communicate, and communicate. And when you feel you have done communicating, communicate some more. Because the art of communication is the language of leadership. This entire journey is about relationship. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's not about anyone else in this entire experience. It's about how I can relate with a Ninoj who's a timer, how I can relate with Rakhi who's a TMOD. These titles are nothing to us. Once we are out of that 1 year experience, these titles do not matter. What matters is how effective I have been in building a relationship. And here's something I want to share with all of you. When I took charge as the district director, we had a split from an existing district, which meant that our finances were not ready. We did not have any money in the bank account. It was zero. But yet I had to run a district for a full year. I could have done it alone, but I didn't have. Thank you. Had it not been for relationships, I would not have been able to steer through the journey in the initial phases. When I look back, a Nikhil stepped up who said, I can help you run around. My home club, Bombay Toastmaster, said, let us lend you some money and you can give it to us when you have it. Arvind Nair, who's on this call today, said, let's work together to find out what we can do together. And all of these happened because of the relationships that were built, not just today, but since the time I was being a member of Toastmasters. Each one of these relationships helped me understand and navigate the journey, which is like a chessboard. You really don't know when you would face a checkmate, or a stalemate. But if you have the right relationship, if you have invested in the relationship, I'm confident that you will be able to navigate the entire journey and emerge victorious. This is about me and my journey. It is said, a loyal brand of coffee once said, a lot can happen over coffee. April 20th, 2009, Parul, Rukmini, Madhura, Rajesh, and Arvind, who's on the call, sat with me and said, let's have a discussion about how we look at the club. And I said, okay. I thought anyway, I have nothing to do on a Saturday evening. Let's meet up and have some fun. As the conversation went on, these people steered towards who will be the next president. Having been a part of a not-for-profit organization, Rotaract, Parul, Rukmini, Madhura, Arvind, all of them knew that I had some experience in leadership. And they tried to prod me and said, why don't you take up presidency? I said, no, but I've just joined. It's just about 4 months and I don't think I'm ready. And they started telling me, it's not about your readiness. It's about the team. It's about how effectively you understand what is required and start working on it. I said, okay, let me think about it. I took about a week and I came back to these 5 dynamic people and said, okay, I'm willing to take it, but I don't think I'll win this election if someone else stands against me. Then they said, don't focus on the others. Focus on what you bring to the table. And I said, okay, let me work. Being a part of a human resource profession gives you some advantages, which includes writing your own KRAs. So the first thing that I did even before I applied for president was identify what are the areas that I will want to focus on, how I can help the club, the members, and of course myself to become better from what we are already. And I was ready. In the month of May, I got elected. And in July 2009, I took oath as the president in less than 6 months of my joining the club. As a president, I focused on making sure that I included everyone in my team, right from the members to the ExCom. Each of my ExCom members were valuable to me. It was like the Panchratna for Akbar. And I felt, no, sorry, the Navratnas of Akbar. And I was like, wow, these are the members who will make sure that we emerge victorious. The club had never been distinguished. We said we will target being presidents distinguished. And we said we'll stretch and say we'll achieve 10 on 10 goals. And achieve we did. And it was a matter of pride for each one of us. And as I look back now, people like Parul, Madhura, Rajesh, Arvind, we are all connected even now. Because it was not about me as a leader. It was about me as a person, a human being, and as a friend who built a relationship with them. There have been so many people in this journey that helped me tide through each and every situation. In the month of July 2010, I took a bold decision. We were a part of District 82 then. When I reached out to District Governor then, Nagaraja Rao DTM, and asked him if I can be of any help to District 82. I wanted something else, but the position that had opened up was that of being the voice of 82, being the newsletter editor. And I said, excellent. I had no experience in designing. I had no experience in coordinating with different kind of people all around the world. I thought this experience will give me something that I can take forward for my journey and learn how to be better at connecting with people. And in my journey as a newsletter editor, I reached out. Those days, we did not have Facebook, we did not have WhatsApp. The only medium to communicate with people outside this community in India was through email or LinkedIn. And I reached out to global members, got their perspective, presented their voices and articles in the Voice of 82 every single quarter. And that gave me confidence to step in as an area governor. For those who do not know, the title area director today was known as area governor then. And the journey continued. When I was an area governor, I had a simple focus. I wanted to double the area that I had. I had 4 clubs when I started. And I told my division director, Adit Paul, that I'll make sure that end of my term, we will have 8 clubs in the area. We worked hard. We started looking at areas where there were no clubs like Gujarat. We started spreading out. We started 2 clubs in Gujarat. Managing a remote club in Gujarat was like something which I never imagined would have been so difficult. We said we have some members who are interested. There is one experienced member, KP Jani, who could bring in the expertise and support. But the challenges were very different. But the best thing to happen was Gujarat today is not just 1, but 2 divisions. And that's how the growth has happened. I went on to step into the role of a division governor and later on being a part of the trio as Lieutenant Governor Marketing and then Lieutenant Governor Education and Training. which are now known as the CGD and the PQD. The Club Group Director is Lieutenant Governor Marketing, and Lieutenant Governor Education and Training is the PQD today. And the best thing to happen, July 2015, I became the first district director. This journey, I would pick up two roles which I feel have changed me as an individual. The first one was that of an area director or an area governor then. The reason is it's a small family and you want to make sure that each one of your child is doing as well as the other. There are challenges. There is probably a membership challenge in one club. There is a membership challenge in another club, which is a problem of plenty. And there is a club which has very few members. Making sure that each one of them do not feel isolated is something which I learned when I was the area governor. And as a first district director of District 98, I learned something which I never thought I would, that is finances. Managing finances, making sure that every penny that is spent is for the benefit of the members. Making sure that we follow the guidelines provided by Toastmasters International. Making sure that every rupee that we spent has been accounted for. For the first time ever, we started with a process where we disclosed the conference accounts during the conference last day. Chandrasekhar DP, who was my PQD at that point of time, made sure that we showed the accounts on screen. And that was shocking for many. No one ever had done it ever. But yes, as it is said, standards are set by norms, but there's always a better way to do things. I went on to being the IPDD, providing support as an advisor, went on to be a Pathways ambassador, region advisor, and currently I am the parliamentarian for District 98. Each experience, each interaction with all the roles, the club meetings that I have is something which has made me become better from what I was earlier. With the opening up of the online meeting, I'm so proud to share with you that I have traveled all the continents today. Not physically, but virtually. And it has made me a better person. It has made me realize that what works in India may not work in Australia. I can see Alicia in this call today. I had prepared for a speech to be delivered in India. And one fine afternoon, Alicia mentioned that there is a speech slot that has opened up for her club. And I said, okay, let me do it. And then I realized the audience is American and the references that I'm giving is purely Indian. I have to change it so that I can connect with them. I made an attempt and I believe I was successful to at least 60 to 70%. A fantastic learning that can only happen at Toastmasters. The journey continues. And I'm thankful that I had the support of my wife, who was the one who pushed me into Toastmasters and said, get out of this couch, you're becoming too fat. Unlike everyone else who would have joined to become a better speaker, a better leader, to negotiate well, I joined Toastmasters to lose weight. Did I lose weight? I did, but I gained a lot in this process. And when I look back about reading, the only thing that made me successful, if I were to call it successful, is that I read. I started with reading the club constitution and bylaws before I took charge as the president. I started reading the district bylaws and constitution, the TI bylaws, everything that is available, so that any action that I take, I know for sure what is it that the impact would be. And this is something which I came up with in one of the sessions at Toastmasters. A leader is a reader. Reading is your ladder. And to lead effectively, you must read. And leadership is not about seriousness. Leadership is not about, always standing stiff. Leadership is about having fun. Ralph C. Smedley rightly said, we learn best in moments of fun. All these pictures that you see on screen are my photographs from Toastmaster session. From having fun dressing up as PK to just laughing out loud or putting up a mask and making everyone guess. I loved having fun. I love having fun with my team. We don't want to be like these monkeys. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. It's all about having fun together. Maybe there is someone trailing in this team. Maybe there is someone who's just fallen asleep. As a leader, you need to wake him up. You need to make sure that in your journey, this person doesn't sleep off. Because please remember, a chain is as strong as the weakest link. You have to be strong and make sure that your members are stronger so that when there is time for us to showcase the strength, the chain doesn't break. Leadership is not a title. Leadership is not about a position. Leadership is about enjoying the experience. Leadership is about giving back. Leadership is about learning. And you don't need to look up only to leaders and say, I have learned from this leader. I learn from every interaction. In the morning today, my son was just having fun with me. And he said, Acha, practice what you preach. He said, what happened? He said, if you have to stand up and you have to be formal, why don't you dress up formally? And I said, that's a wonderful thing. And I decided to dress up formally because it's not about preaching. It's about practicing what you say you will do and do it every single time. If you are sitting on the fence and wondering, can leadership be of use to me? I would say, jump inside. This journey will make you different, make you believe that you are capable of doing things which initially you thought was impossible. And leadership is not about the destination. Leadership is about the journey and the relations that you build. Thank you so much for having me over. I'm so honored and privileged that I had this opportunity to share about how we can find leadership in each one of us through our journey as Toastmasters. Now I'll stop the share and open the floor for questions. And as Kishore Kumar would have said, bajao, bajao, door se bajao. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brilliant, for that wonderful session to find out the leader in everyone. Thank you so much. And the floor is open for questions now. You can unmute yourself and ask the questions.
Hi, Brilliant.
Hi, Arun.
Yeah, Arun here.
Yes, Arun.
I would like to understand, you being an HR professional and HR veteran, what are the key challenges you faced your career journey?
In my career journey, the biggest challenge is making yourself heard. Whether you are a senior person, whether you are a junior person, it's important that people hear you. Unless your voice is heard, unless there is, sorry, just one moment, there's someone which pinged me. Okay. If you're not able to put across your voice effectively, if the organization doesn't care about you, then I don't think that's a place you should be in. You should be in a confident position where you can voice out everything that you want to share. While the organization may not really accept things, but if they are willing to listen, you have,
Okay,
Hello?
cool. Thanks. Yeah, can you hear me, Brilliant?
Yes, I can hear you. Hope I could
All right,
answer the question.
thanks. Yes. I have one more question. What are your key daily habits you follow consistently?
The daily habits that I follow consistently is drink a hot glass of water. I sleep for a minimum of 7 hours every day. And there is something which I've started recently, which is reading at least one chapter from a book, because we've all heard that leaders have to be readers. But being in a professional life with time which keeps flying, it's important that you make time for what you want to do. So I have started making sure that I invest at least 3 hours daily in what I love the most. And that is reading something, investing in my health. I walk for about half an hour to 45 minutes every day. And there is a target which I have set to complete at least 3 kilometers of walking every single day. Then the other thing is about habit. I used to be a singer. Yeah, don't look at me like this. I used to be a singer in school, but corporate life has taken away that singing voice from me. So I have started doing something which I never thought I would. I joined a place very similar to Toastmasters where people applaud everything that you do, irrespective whether you're doing it right or wrong. I joined Star Maker and I try to make sure that my voice is getting heard. And I feel so good because no one is judging you. So I think these are some of the things in terms, irrespective of which level in your career you are at, invest in yourself for at least 2 to 3 hours every day. Whatever it could be. It could be reading, it could be singing, it could be dancing. And there are a few skills which I need to. I used to have a lot of hobbies. All of them are now obsolete and junked. Maybe I'll start. I started writing. What I do is, instead of typing, I've started writing down some of my speeches so that it gives me a experience. It is said that you feel so much into it. So do what you like. At least invest 2 to 3 hours. If 2 to 3 hours is too much, start with half an hour for a day, and then you increase the time.
All right. Thank you so much, Brilliant.
Welcome. Welcome.
Hi, Brilliant. A question out here, Ashish.
Yes, please. Yes,
okay,
Ashish.
so you have some creative idea, some idea that can help bring some change in team or amongst the leaders that you are part of, but you face a lot of resistance because they are not ready for the change. How do we push forward from there?
Could you rephrase it, Ashish, so that I can give you the response accordingly?
You have an idea and you want to get it implemented, but there's a lot of resistance to this change. How do we work around this?
So first thing, what you need to do is check whether you are internally accepting the idea that you have. Many times we have an idea, but we are reluctant because we start thinking CLKK. Heard of CLKK? No. In Hindi, it is called as Char log kya kahenge. What would people say? We get worried by that. And that is where you need to start focusing on. Once you are in 100% acceptance of the idea, you take the first step of looking at people who are close to you and get them into this loop. You start expanding the circle slowly. The biggest mistake that most people do is you take an idea to a larger forum and dump it across. 90% of them will say, this is not what we wanted to look at. And then you feel, what did I do? But if you follow a simple method, first me, then a smaller group, and then a larger group, end of it, you can say KKDS. Karke dikhaya saale.
And one more.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brilliant. Just one more. I have a boss appreciate of bad boss. How do you hear your feedback?
Ashish, I just lost your voice.
Sharing a feedback with a bad. Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible. I think you have a low bandwidth, but okay, tell me.
Okay. How do we share a feedback with a boss who is not open to ideas, or he's a bad boss actually?
Ask me. In fact, I should actually have a badge which says, ask me how to manage bad bosses. I have had instances, a very bad instance with one of my bosses where it was always my way or highway. But one thing which made me stick in that organization for almost 4 years was the fact that I would listen to what my boss had to say and then ask him for 5 minutes and say, could I present my perspective? It's not about pushing. It's about asking. There is a difference. When I tell you, Ashish, do this, you feel as if there is an imposition. But if I say, Ashish, could I just do this? You feel you are in charge. Give your boss that comfort that he or she is in charge of whether or not to take this idea. But if you say, I have an idea and I want to share, it could backfire. So always go with an approach which is, you need the help. So you say, Ashish, I thought I could share something with you with your permission. Get humble. Every aspect of leadership begins with humility. You need to be humble, and arrogance will not take you anywhere. We've seen people who have arrogance of wealth, arrogance of knowledge, arrogance of power. Where have they gone? They've gone into the dumps. But those who have showcased the ability to be humble at all times, remember the golden rule. Listening is your tool. Listening is your tool. When your boss is screaming and abusing you, you can actually cut off your ears and say, I am not listening. And keep nodding or just stay silent. I don't know. We all grew up in a situation where parents used to hit us, right? Kuch galat hua to fadak, you would get. And one thing which I learned is, if you don't react, the other person will stop. The moment you start reacting, the other person will feel, aha, aaja beta, aur marta hu. I am having fun. Let me hit you more. But the moment you stand still and say, okay, it's not impacting me, the other person will start thinking, okay, this is not impacting him, which means that this person is in charge. So stay in charge. Don't let any words redirect your focus from what you want to do. Stay fixated on the idea that you want to present, but present it in a manner that the other person will not feel threatened. The biggest reason why bosses don't take up ideas is they feel they are threatened, and they feel, oh, agar isko maine idea de diya, so this person will go ahead of me in my career. But give that person a comfort and you should be. Hope I have answered your question, Ashish. Thank you.
Brillian, I have a question.
Yes, Rakhi, please.
Rakhi. Okay, as a leader, sometimes we have to take decisions quickly. Okay, in a second of matter, you have to take a decision, and there will be team also depending on that decision. And during that time, how you get that dare? Because sometimes there is decision can go wrong, and everything will mess up. So how you get that dare to take the decision?
I'm sure most of us would have heard this or read this on internet saying that take a decision and make it right. It's not about taking the right decisions at all times. There are instances in your journey as a leader where you may need to take a decision, and not everything is positive, right? There are times where you may fail. It's okay, but you need to take ownership for it. So I say always, and since I gave the example of a raft has an oar. You know that, right? We use an oar,
yeah,
and that's your power. O is ownership, A is accountability, and R is responsibility. Ownership, accountability, and responsibility for the decision that you took. If it goes right, it's a team effort. If it goes wrong, you take all the blame. And if you're willing to do that, trust me, the entire team will be with you. Only thing that I would want you to do is don't get upset by failures. One of the key lessons early in my life, even when I was just a student, was given to me by Henry Ford, who said, failure is only an opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. And if you're able to do that, nothing like it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Brillian.
How are we doing on time? I think yellow. Yeah, we have about 2 or 3 minutes. Any more questions?
Any questions from the audience, or I'll go? I would request if there are more questions, please ask. I'll be the last one to ask.
Great. So before you ask, Joshin, there's something very interesting I want to share. Today we are all online, and this is based on what Rakhi asked. It's an afterthought that has come to me, and I thought I should share this with you. We are all online, and we face a lot of trolls. Right? There are people who may vehemently disagree with what you're saying. They may be erudite professionals who will come back and say, oh, this is good in theory, it doesn't work in practical. That's fine. Sometimes as a leader, you need to know whom you will engage with, whom you will work with, and most important, who you will ignore. Sometimes not responding to that troll is most important. If you remember what I said, when you're getting hit and you're standing and not reacting, the other person feels weak. In this online world, especially, it happens in most of the club WhatsApp groups or in your XCOM groups or on Facebook. I learned this lesson the hard way. When I was a district director, there were instances where some of the leaders would not agree with me and they would post something on Facebook. And I wanted to respond. The moment I would see, I would just immediately react and say, this is what it is. And it went on and on and on and on. So if you see that trail, it would be about 40, 45 comments long. Once I moved beyond the leadership role as a district director, I realized that I could have left it at that point and said, ignore. Because the moment you start feeding those people who are trolling you, they will start, pricking you everywhere, and it is dangerous for you. So I thought I should share this with you since this topic came up, especially when Raki asked. Thank you, Raki, for that question.
One more thing related to that, when you ignore in that way, sometimes people will see that as weakness, right? Like you are not being able to respond to that. In that way, people will have that perspective also.
So tell me, Raki, there was one thing which I said, CLKK. Char log kya kahenge? Are you worried about what others say? Or are you worried about doing it the right way? As a leader, I would focus on doing it the right way. Doing the things in a manner which is right and in the benefit of membership at large. Any decision you take, any action you take, anything you do, never in your life would 100% of the people say that, wow, you did a great job. There would always be naysayers. There would always be people who want to pull you down. The crab example is a wonderful metaphor to use here. You don't need to worry about it. What you need to focus on is, okay, this is a viewpoint, let it be. But think about how much of positivity you would spread by not engaging someone who's negative. If you engage a person in a negative conversation, you test it. You say, okay, for example, Ashish says that I don't agree with this. It is bullshit. So I say, thank you, Ashish. I accept your viewpoint. End of it. It's a matter of perspective. Full stop. I have responded and I have made an agreement that I'll no longer speak. And he has nothing to come back. He may engage in another troll. Then it is up to me to say I'll not engage. So choose and pick your battles wisely as a leader. So Joshin, your call. Last question.
Yeah.
It's the red card.
So, yeah, correct. So my question is, currently I have a very, very good team of executive members, right? We sync each other, we work together, we all have the same wavelength. But at times, if you go to another scenario where you have people with conflict of interest, could you please throw some lights on your experience on how to handle such situations?
So one lesson which I learned is conflicts are neither good nor bad. Conflicts are reality of life. And when you're working in your comfort zone, you believe that everything is good, everything is hunky-dory. But the moment you move out of your comfort zone, that's when you realize, okay, maybe people had too much of respect for me and that's why they did not oppose me on anything. As a leader, you should be open to other ideas. Remember what I said some time ago. Standards are set by norms, but there's always a better way to do things. When you open up as a leader, your biggest tool is your ear. And people have said this so many times. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth because you listen double and talk less. Keep listening. Nowhere in this world will you get 100% agreement. Conflict management, the biggest tool for you is listening to the other viewpoint, making a note of actionables if you can, and if you feel it is not workable, you put across and say, while your ideas are good, while your viewpoints are relevant, in this context, this is what we feel will work for the larger good. So do not attempt conflict resolution without being a good listener. And the key to being a successful leader is listen, listen, and listen, and communicate, communicate, communicate. Sometimes, remember the rapids, right? If you want to tide through the rapids, you need to use that period of silence to fine tune what needs to be done. Some elements may be useful in future. I had a situation where one member of my excom was vehemently saying, this cannot be done, this cannot be done, this cannot be done. And I said, okay, let's sit together. Let's have a conversation. I sat there, I heard him for half an hour. And the next 10 minutes, I gave him facts. I gave him pros and cons. And I said, this is how it is. Now you tell me, how do we proceed? The problem in that situation was the excom member felt that his voice was not heard by the others. So give everyone a listening ear. And I think half your problems are already solved.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hope I could answer you.
Yes, definitely.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank
Thanks
you
a
very
lot.
much.
So the timer is staring at me and saying, I told you when the red card comes, you just knock it off. And now he's angry. The red has become redder. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for having me over. Thank you, Timer, Ninoj. Thank you, Raki, Ashish, Jocelyn, and everyone who's been here in this session today. I will be taking back some interesting questions which you have asked and incorporate it in my next session. As we say, we keep learning, we keep growing, we keep sharing. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Raki.
Thank you, Brilliant. Thank you for the brilliant session. Now I call President of Smartcity Toastmasters, Toastmaster Joshi, for the vote of thanks and the certificate. Over to you, Joshi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Raki. Let me. Yeah, thank you very much. So once again, thank you, Dr. Brillian SK DTM, for your presence and for your excellent session on leadership skills. Your life experience as a Toastmaster and the different roles that you have taken up in Toastmaster, along with your professional life experiences, has given us a lot of insights into how a leader should be. And we will definitely take your tips on how to perform as a good leader in our future roles as well. Thank you so much for your presence, and thank you so much for your session as well. And please accept a token of gratitude from our side, a virtual memento for you. So in fact, whenever we conduct a physical meeting, we have the legacy of giving good mementos, but this time we have to restrict ourselves to a certificate of gratitude from our side. Please accept this as a humble gratitude from our side. Thank you so much, Brilliant SK DTM.
Thank you. It was my pleasure being here.
Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Joshin, and thank you, DTM Brilliant, for the wonderful session. Now we take 2 minutes of break. Let's just engage, and after that, the table topic session will start.
So during this break, if anyone wants to network with each other, definitely you can open up your mics. We can speak with each other, get to know a little better.
Brilliant, you are currently from Mumbai, right?
Brilliant just went to take a break. Yeah, he's
Okay.
based out of, yeah, he's back. You can ask.
Hey, Brilliant. I'm just checking with you. You're currently from Mumbai, right?
Wait, he is putting on his headphone. Now you can ask.
Not a big deal. Thought of just check with his HR.
Now you can ask. He is put on his headphone.
Hi, Brilliant.
Hi, Arun.
Hey,
Sorry.
you're
I
currently
just
from.
gone to take water.
No problem. So I just wanted to check. You're based out of Mumbai, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So how long you been in HR?
Okay, my journey is a very different journey from what I began. I began as a technical trainer. I went into software development. I was a database administrator managing databases for 17 countries for a company called Harman Becker Contracting, which used to make those music systems and electronic devices for all the luxury cars. So I was managing their database, and I got into a project which was into 360 degree, which we currently use it. And I was fascinated by that. So I started exploring. So it's about 20 years now that I've been in HR, but all the other experience is non-HR.